Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land. You're watching the Dish on Dogs. We're live on Facebook. We got a lot of great things happening. We got a lot of great guests, both human and four-legged. It's going to be a fun show. It's going to be fun. Then it's going to be sad. Then it's going to be fun. And then it's probably going to be sad. We'll see. We're going to keep the energy alive. We're going to talk about our new franchises down in Pittsburgh, where we just came from. We got 2 new locations there. We're going to talk to our friends here from the Brookhaven Animal Shelter. We're going to talk to, well, we're not going to talk to them exactly, but we're going to have a little demonstration. For those of you on Facebook, the benefit is you can see what's happening here, especially for our little canine demonstration. So if anybody's watching and you want a dog, he's a senior. He's really 9. He acts like he's 5. We were going to lie about his age, like on Match.com, but we thought we'd be truthful. So yeah, he's 9 years old, but he's a spry, as Johnny said, a spry 9-year-old. He's got a lot of energy. He loves people. He loves children. He's housebroken. Of course, a senior. We're going to talk about it on the show. The benefits and negatives of owning. It's really the negative is the emotional aspect of it. But other than that, you can't find a better dog than this. You couldn't pay a breeder money. Excuse me. So stick with us, and we're going to go live on the radio in a couple of minutes, and or a minute or two, and just stay with us. I hope everybody's watching out there. Joe and Cody, Danielle, Sarah, all of our friends. They better be. It's hot in here, isn't it? I don't know. What are you saying?
Clutch is ready to go.
He's perfect. Look at him.
Yeah.
This is it. He has no human braid, so he's not nervous. He doesn't care about anything. He's wondering what the fuck is going on around me. Where am I? I'm in a little bubble. He thought he was a dog, but he's in a fishbowl. So a space capsule.
I said hello.
Hi guys. I hope everything's going well. I got a good report from Danielle today that you guys are doing good, and it's exciting. So hang in there. We'll give you a shout out in a couple of minutes. We got your shirts on the way, so this way everybody can be compliant. And I know that Jackie, something happened where you guys didn't get your shirts.
Just
yeah, he's really a cool dog. He hopefully, this dog, if somebody don't adopt this dog, something's wrong with you. Look at that. Look at his coat. Look at his nose. This is insane.
He's almost posing for it.
I know.
He's chilled.
Thank you.
10. In 5, 4, 3.
Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Dish on Dog, the show all about dogs. And for those of you who are watching on Facebook, we actually have a dog here, a beautiful dog. We're going to talk about him in a little while. I'm Mike Gould. I'm your host. I am affectionately known as the mayor of Houndstown, USA, home to the absolute happiest dogs on earth. I think we have 29 locations in about 9 or 10 different states. What is Houndstown, USA? For those of you who don't know, it's a fully interactive doggy daycare facility that offers other services like boarding and grooming, but our core specialty is getting dogs in packs, natural packs, and they play all day long, and they go home very tired at the end of the day. I'm here also with Ashley Pizzo, the lovely Ashley Pizzo, her handsome husband. For those of you on Facebook, we have Clutch. In the second segment, I'm going to be introducing Karen and Johnny from the Brookhaven Animal Shelter. So the good news, we were just voted number 11 in the fastest growing franchises in the United States.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive. That's interesting.
Impressive.
I got to always give my shout outs to Joan and Tom Sullivan, our faithful listeners down in Beverly Hills, Florida, not Beverly Hills, California. I always got to make that distinction. They are the voice of reason in the universe, in the entire universe. Tom, not so much, but Joan, she's the elder statesman. She is smart. She knows this stuff. And she taught her son Tom pretty well, I think, because he's pretty smart. So the goal of our show, The Dish on Dogs, is to help people understand and how to effectively communicate with their dog, because a dog has a mammalian brain and we have a neocortex, and it's always, sometimes it's in sync, but most times it's out of balance. So we're talking to dogs, we're looking, we're talking, we're touching, and then we bring dogs who haven't evolved much in 500. Clutch here is as close to a wolf as he was 500,000 years ago, because he's not standing erect, he's not growing thumbs. So we have evolved, and we live in a crazy world, human world, and then we bring dogs into this insane world. And what's more insane, we're sitting at an airport in a glass bubble. There's Zambonis, whatever the hell what do you call it?
We call them Zambonis. They're not
If they should.
Zambonis.
I don't know what the hell it is, but this lady goes
they're
by.
vacuums.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I don't know what the hell it is, how is a dog going to know what it is? So we live in this very complicated world, and dogs don't. They live in a simple world. And as I said, their brain hasn't evolved. They don't know what elevators are. They don't know what glass doors are. They don't know anything. So, and that's what the show is about, learning or teaching humans how to communicate to their dog, and not in like psychic way, just in simple ways, because dogs are simple, straightforward. We love them because they're not capable of hatred, homophobia, racism. They're emotional creatures, and they have a pure version of love. It's not ambiguous, like I always say. I've been in love before, and then I've been in hate with the same person I was in love with, right? So I loved my first wife until she took off with the mailman. Then I hated her. The dog, no, that was my third wife, I'm sorry. But the dog is always the way they are. They just want to be loved. They need safety, security. Here's the three things dogs need: leadership, structure, and consistency. Leadership, structure, and consistency. And actually, humans need the same thing. But when it comes to domestic dogs, our pets, we do a really number on their head because of the inconsistency. We got Halloween coming up, so people are going to dress their dogs up like bumblebees. And news alert. Is that any of you guys? No? Okay, I'm looking for
We
guilty.
dressed our dogs up last year. so-
Right. But just, I want to give out a news alert. Breaking news. Dogs can't be bumblebees. They don't want to be bumblebees. They want to be left alone. And the truth is, Halloween is going to be the number one, not the number one, but it's a day of the year that there's a lot of kids and people getting bit, because the dog's going to bust through the front door because there's literally a ghost or a skeleton outside, and it's going to bite them, and it's going to be drama unfolding.
We have a lot of people that actually will drop their dogs off for daycare on Halloween.
Right.
And then we do a costume party.
Right,
there.
right, right. Let us do the costume parties. We're professionals. Yeah. So don't leave your dogs home. Just think of the anxiety. I have anxiety on Halloween. I'm the guy that hides and don't answer the door. I'm the cranky old man on the block that I don't have no candies. Nothing's happening. I actually.
Ball on the porch.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want. What'd she say?
You get egged.
I get egged. I don't care. I'd rather get egged than these little bratty kids banging on my door. So, yeah, no. Halloween is stressful for me, so I know how stressful it is for you, dogs. The same thing as 4th of July. Just think of it. You're going to have a 4th of July party. You think it's all great. Everybody's drinking, fireworks, kids are screaming, hot dogs are falling off the barbecue. So it's a lot of drama. Dogs do not want drama. So we have our little friend Clutch here, and he's been doing fine. I'm assuming this is probably his first time in the airport, probably the first time in this little glass bubble of this radio studio. So anyway, that's what we do. We teach humans how to communicate to their dogs, but not in English. Dogs don't talk. That's another news alert. Dogs don't talk. If there was a talking dog, I'd be rich. I wouldn't have to do this crap, right? I could take off and have my first talking dog. All right, what else do we need to talk about? So last week we weren't here. We've been traveling the country, training franchisees. I just got back last night from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now, for those of you who've never been to Pittsburgh, it's an amazing, amazing city. And we just opened a location up in the Strip District at 3228 Penn Avenue. So, so we actually our loyal, faithful employee, Danielle Janace, is down.
That's why she's not here with us. She's listening.
She's listening. Of course she's listening. She has no life.
She's living in hotel
She's
rooms.
she's in a hotel in one of the most fascinating cities in the world. Which
Watching us.
truly is, and she's watching us on Facebook Live. Come on, Danielle, get a life. All right, so you're right. Really, if you're listening, you really do have to get a life. It's Monday night. Come on. So anyway, so Danielle's there. So the Strip District, it's just a nice, unique little part of Pittsburgh. It's right outside this. It's within the city limits. It's literally a mile or two from downtown Pittsburgh, and it's really fascinating. And we're also going to open a second location with Michael and Michelle Hurley. They're opening a location outside the city of Philadelphia itself. But all of these things are really exciting for us. And Joe and Cody, the franchisees in Pittsburgh Strip District, are really doing a great job. And they have a great staff. So they only opened yesterday. The set was Saturday.
Well, they did a lot of marketing beforehand.
They did a lot of marketing. That's up to the, Jackie, of course,
Yeah.
does all this kind of Facebook stuff and Google
I think the
ads.
same thing's happening with Detroit also. They're getting a lot of customer base before they even open.
Right, before they even open, they're getting like 100 customers. So the trick for Cody and Joe, they hired this great staff: Megan, Lauren, Rowan, Mike, and Sam. Sam's not really. Sam is the kind of the overseer of he's a helper. And I don't know how to describe him. He's a cool guy. We love Sam. He goes to the gym, works out, smells good. What else?
Okay.
Yeah, what's that? What did I say? He looks good, smells good, and works out. What the hell? Is that something wrong with that? That's my friend Sam.
He's making his Match.com.
That's not to say Megan, Lauren, and Rowan and Mike don't. They're somewhat well groomed, but not like Sam. Come on now. So anyway, I better stop while I'm not.
Behind.
Well, stop while I'm behind. Right. So we just want to give them a shout out. So in the next segment, we're going to tell you a story about a dog, Clutch. I'm going to introduce our very long-time friends from the Brookhaven Animal Shelter. They're going to talk about Clutch, and he's kind of got us. It's not kind of a sad story. It is a sad story, but I want to leave you suspenseful of what is the sadness in his story, but how somebody out there can make this very happy Christmas and Thanksgiving for this little flea taxi they call Clutch. So listen to how do people listen to us and stuff?
So they can go either they can watch us live through Facebook. They go to Houndstown Radio, and then we'll be on there every Monday night, 8 o'clock. And our previous episodes are also on the Facebook page. But you can also check in, if you don't have Facebook, on YouTube under Houndstown USA. And all our videos there, any dogs we've had for training, everything's up on there.
Right. So break out a bottle of wine. If you want to go to sleep, you don't have to take any Ambien or anything. Just listen to my voice. It's very hypnotic. You have the wine, and I am guaranteed to put you to sleep. It's
Unless you're a Houndstown staff member.
Then why? Then you're
stressed.
Then you're right. So all right. So I hope that Danielle's doing out there good in Pittsburgh. Her and Victoria are out there. Actually, Victoria just met her out there, and they're going to be working for the next 10 days, and then they're going to be off and running. So stay with us on the Dish on Dogs. We're going to come back in 2 minutes, introduce Karen and Johnny from the Brookhaven Animal Shelter, as well as this really, really, really cool dog named Clutch. He even got a good name. I don't know what it means, but it sounds good, Clutch. It's different. We'll see if there is a reason why his name's Clutch. Dish on Dogs, 103.9. We'll be back in 2 or 3 minutes, folks. Hang in there. All right. Hi, Clutch.
Hopefully there's not an HR department in Pittsburgh yet.
Yeah, right. That's funny. I don't know. Is there? What did I say? I said Sam smells good, looks good, he's well groomed. What is wrong with that?
And we're repeating it.
I
You
wish
would say he's nice, he's good with
He's
managing
nice.
dogs.
Well, of course he's nice, and he is good with dogs. He's got a nice energy. Oh my God! All right. I guess I don't know. No. I look. I'm jealous. All right. I'm not. I'm not that. I'm not well groomed. I don't work out. And I don't smell nice. I smell more like Clutch than I do like Sam. So, So that's it. It's just a matter of jealousy. All right. Give me a break. What now? What else are we going to talk about? All right, in the next segment, we're going to talk about this little dog, Clutch. You're going to describe review Clutch, and then we're going to do a training demo.
I do like his name.
I do like his name. Why is it? Is there a reason he's named Clutch, or you have no clue?
They didn't tell them.
Well,
All right.
it's probably like a sports thing.
Really?
Clutch.
Huh.
I was thinking a car.
I was thinking a car too. It's like match game. I was thinking of a
Why would
car.
someone even have to have a car part?
More than sports.
What is it?
When you come in clutch, that's like a good thing in sports.
Yeah, it's
Huh.
a saying, but
It's not a saying, it's a thing. If
All
you're a
right,
clutch
let's
player,
not, let's
It's a
not,
saying.
clutch player.
let's not have a marital dispute
I
here.
Thought I told her.
Well,
Disappointment.
Yeah.
Well, add it to the list of things, just so.
Oh, yeah.
all right, let's listen to this. And then one of you girls bring that microphone close to your mug, and we're gonna just, there you go. Just slide up. It'd be nice and just relax. There's nothing. There's nothing. You're gonna be talking, you're the spokesperson for Clutch. You're his spokesperson. No worries.
We're on Facebook.
What's the matter?
I can't tell whether we're on or not.
You want
I'll
my
let you know. No,
note
we're
that
not
I
on
sent
yet.
you?
I'll let you know.
On
We're on Facebook Live,
it? Bathroom?
so
Right.
you know that.
You see what Pittsburgh said?
Uh-oh.
4, 3.
All right.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould, Mayor of Houndstown, USA. We're on Facebook Live tonight. Getting myself in trouble while we're talking, after we're talking. So I have to refrain from that. So here we are. So the Brookhaven Animal Shelter is I've had a relationship with them for 40 years, and I've been going back and forth. And the people I want to introduce are like some of the coolest people. They're really dedicated to dogs and getting dogs adopted. And it's actually working in a shelter can be very emotionally challenging. I know it is for me because it's, you know, so to have the ability to go to work every day, and then the joy of adoptions, the sadness of dogs being surrendered, it's really a troubling thing. So I want to talk about a really cool dog we have here, but first I want to introduce Karen from the Brookhaven Animal Shelter. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
All right, get that thing close to your mouth. Hi, there you are. All right. And then Johnny, say hello to everyone.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Okay. And then the creature that can't really talk is Clutch. He's floating around down here. Karen, tell me just about what's Clutch's story. It's kind of a sad story. What is it?
Okay, so Clutch is a 9-year-old senior lab mix. We got him he came to us in 2018. He was adopted, and sadly, his new owner passed away, so he got returned to us. But they had him for a little over a year.
Right. So that is a sad story. So folks, if you're watching, usually dogs get surrendered to the shelter. People don't always tell the truth. Frankly, a lot of times they lie, but dogs get returned to the shelter because usually behavioral problems. Not always, but sometimes there's some underlying behavioral problem that people didn't want to deal with. And they return the dog. They make up a story that they're moving to Kalamazoo, Michigan, and they can't take the dog with them. But in this case, we have this beautiful 8-year-old dog. He's a black lab. Tell me about his personality and temperament. You deal with him every day.
He's super easygoing. He walks well on his leash. He is housebroken. He's on our housebroken list. He goes out several times throughout the day. He won't go in his kennel. We tested him with other animals, and he did well, although he does seem to prefer female dogs over male.
Well, that's, I feel it. I get it. I can relate to that. All right. That's my problem. Go ahead.
Very sweet and affectionate.
Yeah.
And he likes to smile.
He likes to smile. Okay. All right. So anyway, we'll get him to smile. After this segment, we're going to go outside and see if we can get him to smile. But here's the thing, and seriously, this dog is so cool, and there is positives and negatives in adopting a shelter dog, of course. Many of the positives, you see the dog, you don't have to go through the housebreaking process of having a puppy. And there's ways of temperament testing a dog. All right, they're ruining the studio here. I don't know what's happening. But there's ways of doing it. So here's the sad part is, I guess, I just think about it. This dog, the owner passed away, and there was nobody in the family that was able to take him. I wouldn't have guessed he's 9 years old. I could have lied and said he was 5, and probably nobody would know. But he's a 9-year-old dog. He's as healthy, I think, as can be, and we'll demonstrate that to you. And he just would make that perfect companion for anybody. That it doesn't maybe not a dramatic household with children running around, but just somebody that wants to watch Dancing with the Stars with their dog and just have a beer, some popcorn. He would be the perfect companion for that. Do you agree with that assessment of him? So tell me some other things, Karen or Johnny. What's happening at the shelter? So there's always something new happening. What's happening?
Yes, definitely. We have a promotion every month to help us adopt some of our animals out. This month, the October 26th and 27th, we have free adoptions that day. And actually until the end of this month, the 31st, all of our cats are also, all of the fees are waived.
Wow.
So we definitely want people to come down and adopt.
Right. And do you have an assortment? I'm assuming it's, I know Clutch is amazing. Do you have other dogs that you would consider, nicely adoptable dogs?
Yeah, we have a pretty nice bunch of dogs right now. Definitely a good amount that are friendly with other animals. They tested well, and just generally very easygoing, affectionate dogs waiting to go home.
Right. And then you also have some difficult dogs. So in my world, my life, we have disabled dogs. I have a dog at home that's literally paralyzed in the back. And when I say that to people, the dog's in a wheelchair, and people go, "Oh, that's sad." But it's not sad at all. The dog is such a high spirit. She's probably one of the most, what do you call it?
Outgoing,
friendly, confident. She runs up mountains. Her name is Zooming Rosie. She gets in a little, if she's not in her wheelchair, she's zooming around. It's just kind of incredible. So this is what makes dogs fascinating, right? They're not complaining about, I get out of bed, I stub my toe, I don't want to go to work. But this dog, so the point is we have difficult dogs. And there are a couple of difficult dogs at the shelter. That doesn't mean they have to be euthanized. That doesn't mean they have to live their life in the shelter. They need the right human being out there that understands them. So with that said, let's just talk a little bit about our old and good friend Curtis that we all love. Tell us about Curtis.
Yes, Curtis is one of the longest residents that we've had at the shelter. He came to us as a 9-month-old puppy, rambunctious, a little unruly, but very sweet. He did get adopted after a couple months with us, but unfortunately it wasn't the best home. He ended up getting abandoned in his crate outside in the snow. Yeah,
that was another horrible element of his life. The good part about dogs is that, unlike humans, they don't necessarily get traumatized by that experience. They're as like our Zooming Rosie. Whatever happened to her, she doesn't have back use of her leg, she doesn't care about that. She's very optimistic. But Curtis, the only problem he has in life is he wants to pursue any animal he sees. And he's a big, solid dog. He's about 80, 90 pounds, right? Solid, at least, all right. Again, Match.com. All right, so yeah, he's probably at least 90 pounds. But he's solid muscle, absolutely affectionate, no human aggression. But if he sees a squirrel, an animal, anything, he's off to the races. And frankly, he's a difficult dog to manage in that regard. He's not a dog you want to take for walks through the neighborhood or go to the dog park with. You want to have a secure backyard, and just a secure backyard, and he'll live a perfect life. He lives a great life at the shelter, of course, in the sense that he lives there, and he has an outlet for his energy and so forth. So now if there's a human being out there that wants to accept that challenge and understands the nature of a dog like that. And it's pretty simple. You just have to manage him differently. He's not like any other dog because of his high, we call it prey drive, his desire to chase other animals. And if he wasn't 90 pounds, it wouldn't be a problem, but he is a big, powerful dog. Right? What do you got to say about that, Professor?
About Curtis?
Yeah, tell us about it.
No, I loved Curtis, especially when he came in and we did that boot camp with him. He bonds well with people,
Yeah,
He is definitely a nice, well-rounded dog, but he's stimulated easily by certain things.
Yes. So anyway, we're going to take a break, and then you're going to show Clutch. You're going to demonstrate Clutch. But shelter dogs are amazing. please, you know, you don't realize, first of all, they're giving you the dogs, right? I mean, right now there's no adoption fees. They're all been somewhat vetted out, so they're not being dumped on you with some kind of parasites or intestinal problems. They're free, but you have to be the right owner for the dog. We talk about not owning dogs. They're not your possession. They're part of your life. They're part of your family, and not all dogs fit into everybody's life. So sometimes people are selfish and they go to buy a dog or breed a dog or collie because they had collies when they were little. And it's really very selfish when you think about it. So we don't own, they're not our possessions like a car is our possession. They're family members that you have to respect their personality. Some are shy, some are confident, most of them are fearful on some level. Clutch is somewhat fearful of certain things. So, with that said, we're going to take a break, and then Ashley, the professor here, is going to take Clutch out, who's settled nicely into this little fishbowl that we're in, and she's just going to walk him around and show what a beautiful dog he is. You'll never guess that he's 9 years old. So Facebook people, 7 minutes. Radio people, go get another glass of wine. We'll be back in 7 minutes, and we'll see how this goes. This is live, so we don't know how it's going to go. We'll see. All right, you go out, bring some treats, squeaky toys, distractions. Atta girl. All right, there. Let's go out, ladies. Be careful, don't wreck the place. Atta girl. All right. Now, watch yourself. There you go. Let's get a little of this. The dish on dogs. We're going to take a look. Look at pan over to our friend Clutch. Now look, this is insanity. You don't see it, and there's not a lot of human activity here, but there's a lot of odors. You know what this carpet smells like? I couldn't even imagine. But here we have, look at how relaxed Ashley is. There's no tension. Now, if she turns to the right, he's going to turn to the right. Come on down this way. And then, now here is a 9-year-old dog. And you've got to understand, you can go fast. Look at his tail is up, she's relaxed. Let's do a little agility. He goes up on the agility provided by Iceland Airport, the agility course, and come around. This is a spry, as Johnny said, this is a spry dog. I've seen 5-year-old dogs that can't do that. His mouth is open, he's relaxed, she's relaxed. She's gonna come around, put him on that chair. So the other part to this, you don't need a lot. When you adopt a dog, dogs sleep most of the time. They sleep between 14 and 18 hours a day, especially an old dog. So you don't need what you think you need. You don't need 5 acres of property. Dogs don't do laps around the backyard. They just need security, consistency, and leadership. So there's the leadership, there's the structure, and there's the consistency. We've done this 3 or 4 times, and now the dog understands it. Ashley can back away. Notice she's not, that's fine, he made a little mistake, we don't care, he goes back up. This is a learning problem. This is why the consistency is there. He made a mistake. Now she's going to drop the leash. This isn't done for food. It's not a trick. It's about leadership. When she drops down low, the dog is going to come to her automatically. That's it. So there's not a lot of yelling and screaming and drama and this and that. We're not shoving treats down his throat. The only time he gets a treat is when he goes to a very specific place. If you're looking for a fabulous dog, I mean, I can show you. I'm not a doggy dentist, but I can tell you, these choppers of him is really nice. They've been feeding him good over there at the Brookhaven Animal Shelter. I would have never guessed. If I found him randomly, I would have thought he was a 5-year-old dog. And we show you that we represent distractions, no problem. Look how stable he is. Just look. We got a few minutes, so stand up and let's just go a little bit more around town, fast, slow. He's on her left. She can jog. You want to go jogging? The dog goes jogging. You want to go slow? You can go slow. You want to do agility? He does agility. He's got it all. A man of all seasons. But the trick is to see her. Ashley training. We've been doing this for 10 to 15 minutes, a few minutes before she came on the show, and now. I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. What else can they do? So, I mean, what else you want them to do? Make you a drink? I mean, this is, what do you want from this poor animal? Go ahead, one more time up. I don't know. Call us up, call the Brookhaven Animal Shelter. Get this dog for free. Is it still a free adoption or not yet?
October 26th and 27th.
Okay, October 26th. Here it is. 2, 3. She's scared the crap out of me. I'm in an airport, right? So I was like, I had my hands up. Listen, here's the thing. If you adopt this dog anytime between now, Houndstown Charities will pay the adoption fee. So it can't cost you anything. But truthfully, money shouldn't be the object. That shouldn't be your decision, because if you can't afford it, how much is an adoption?
137, although he'll be less because he's already neutered.
Right, he's already neutered. So my point is, though, realistically, Houndstown Charity will pay that. But if you can't afford you can't pay $125 for a family member that is probably one of the probably better than any of your other family members. Yeah, he's better than any other family member. $120 is a pair of sneakers, a dinner out. If you can't afford that, then the question is, would you really properly take care of him? So I don't think so. Let's go say hello to this guy. We'll get a nice close-up. No aggression, nothing. We got to go inside, come and adopt Clutch, the best dog you'll ever have. Come on, let's go in. All right, that was good on Instagram. I don't know if I got myself in any trouble.
On Facebook.
What are we on?
Facebook.
What did I say?
Instagram.
Oh, Jackie loves Clutch. Jackie, I know.
No more.
Everybody loves
No
Clutch.
more for you.
What is wrong with you people? Somebody out there needs a dog. And it could be, honestly, it could be a senior citizen. This is probably the best companion a senior citizen can have. And I mean that. So it's really, as I said, I'll pay the adoption fee, but you really should have the $130. Because if you don't have the $130, then I question, can you afford food to feed the poor mutt? So, I mean, it sounds good, free this and that. This is an amazing dog, period. All right, let me get back to reality here. What else do I... Let's think about what I want to talk about. Let's see. All right, Jackie's watching. Jackie, I'm sorry, what?
Sorry, just if we have a little time to discuss. I didn't know if we have a lot of play groups that we're trying to get into at the shelter. I didn't know if maybe you had a little insight.
Of course, let's talk about that. Yeah, just give us a minute. Definitely. Definitely. We'll talk about the shelter. We got 2 more segments, for God's sake. We got plenty of time. I have nothing else to talk about. I mean, I can only promote Clutch so long. Clutch is cool. What are we doing here? We'll talk about what your initiatives are there at the shelter. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould, mayor of Houndstown, USA, home to the happiest dogs on earth. Since our inception, we've taken care of over 1.5 million dogs. That's kind of incredible, isn't it, Ashley? I mean, and that now that we have 30 locations, that number is like McDonald's. It's exponentially growing. So now every year, it's just incredible. And we are home to the happiest dogs on earth because what we allow dogs to do is be natural. So their natural instincts are very simple. They're not big ones. They don't need cell phones. They don't need they're technology proof. They don't need technology. They don't need humans screaming at them. They don't need humans dressing them up for Halloween. What they need to do is run in a pack, interact in a pack, a safe environment. And what I like to say is we allow them to hump, jump, and dump. at Houndstown, USA. So that's what they want to do. They want to sniff each other's butts, run around, wrestle, play, rah, 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 do all of this wonderful stuff. And at the end of that interaction, they go home and sleep and they're all settled. So one of the challenges the shelters have, truthfully, and this is something I think that, I've always thought that if there was a way of taking, and there is a way, by the way. So at Brookhaven, tell us about, at the Brookhaven Animal Shelter, tell us what they do now and what you would like these dogs to do. The fancy word is enrichment program. So this is the new word of the shelters now. They didn't have that word 30 years ago, right, John? Enrichment. So we have enrichment for dogs. And what that means, to me, it's just an outlet to allow pack animals to be pack animals, right? So kids go to the playground, dogs need to interact. So talk to me about that. Talk to me about what you'd like to see happen at the...
Okay, so as of now, they get just a different toy in their kennel every day. They do get different essential oils as part of their enrichment program. But what we're striving to get to is a point where we can have large play groups where they can hang out for a while daily and get a lot of their excess energy out.
Right. So that's a great goal. So if you think of it this way, dogs are dogs, so they should have a natural inclination to want to be with other dogs. Like fish go in water, dogs are pack animals. Many of the shelter dogs weren't raised right or socialized properly, and we know that. But if you have the number of dogs, you have 80 or 100 dogs in your facility, probably I'd say at least 50% of them could go into a group if the group is carefully, we select the dog's temperament. And at Houndstown, we really have this down. It's pretty much a science, a soft science, but we can temperament test, we evaluate dogs, and the trick is we put them in groups of mutually sized dogs. So the problem comes in if you put Curtis, well, let's exclude Curtis from the group of dogs, but if you put an 80-pound dog in with a 10-pound Havanese, that's a recipe for disaster, right? Because a big dog doesn't maybe even know what a Havanese is. Dogs don't have self-awareness. So they don't look in a mirror and say, oh, I'm a German Shepherd, or I wish I was a poodle. They don't think of any of these things. They don't have self-awareness. So it's up to us to figure out their energy level, their age. So you could have a dog like Clutch, for example. He's 9 years old, but I probably could find a 2-year-old black lab that looks just like him. But pairing them together wouldn't be fair to Clutch, because Clutch is a senior citizen and he doesn't want to play with a 2-year-old dog. So when we take all these things into account, the dog's age, the dog's physical condition, and their mentality, and then we put them in the appropriate group. So I would do, and I'd love to see it happen at Brookhaven Shelter, I'd love to see it happen at all shelters, is set up a program where dogs can be put in groups. And what we do is, at Houndstown, is we build groups around the dog. We don't just take a dog and throw him into a group of 20 dogs and keep our fingers crossed and hope things go well. We take a dog like Clutch, for example, and find him one playmate. Then we add a third, and then we add a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. And it happens very quickly, to the point we have these established packs, and they go out, and we can have 15 or 20 dogs in a pack, and they interact amazingly well. And it doesn't have to be long-winded. See, humans, the human brain, makes things too complicated. They complicate matters. So if a dog's work, we can meet the needs of most dogs in 20 minutes, meaning they can get the proper exercise, they can relieve themselves, they can get loved, they can play. 20 minutes, as I said when we were doing our break, dogs sleep 14 hours a day. Older dogs sleep sometimes 18 hours a day. And young puppies sleep pretty much all day. So dogs aren't what we think they are. The only time you see them aroused is when the doorbell rings or the mailman goes by. Then they wake up and they have this burst of energy. So in our play groups that we have, because they're all day long, we put the group together at 6 or 7 in the morning. By 10 o'clock, there's 20 dogs passed out sleeping because they just can't keep up with that intensity. And that's what would be natural in the wild. In the wild, they just come out, they hunt, try to kill a rabbit, bring it back, and that's it. That's their life. Young dogs want to play, so they play. So it's how you select the dogs for the pack. But if it comes a time, Houndstown Charities would love nothing more than to try to do that. Not try to do it, do it. Just put packs together. And as I said, I don't care what the dogs. If you have 80 dogs, 50% of them would easily go in the right group. and then you just build on that. The goal is, obviously there's certain dogs that are 2 or 3 years old that weren't socialized properly, so it's going to be extremely difficult, particularly in that environment of a shelter. Because the biggest problem you have at the shelter is the humans are changing constantly. So there's no consistency with the staff. So everybody has a different, where in a family, as good or bad as the humans may be, at least they're consistent. In shelters, it's always changing. So that's something, is that what you were talking about? Something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that I feel like the human portion of it is the more difficult part, because finding people that are that aren't going to panic, or that aren't going to put their things on what's going on.
Thank you.
interactions.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the most important, but not only at shelters, but the clients that I see at home, they're projecting all of their needs, emotional needs and physical needs, onto a poor dog. Even when I see at the airport, very frankly, one of the things that incensed me is these therapy dogs, these emotional support dogs. This is ludicrous, in my view. It's crazy. You're going to take a dog, let's say I Clutch, for example. I'm 225 pounds. I'm going to rely on him to stabilize my big fat ass? That's ridiculous. I'm going to give well, I'm just saying, think of how ridiculous that is. And then my emotions, right? I'm going to project my sadness, my fear of flying onto a dog? That's ludicrous. The dogs probably have a bigger fear of flying than you do. Then we put them in a bag and shove them under the front seat, and we're going to say that this is an emotional support dog. It's ridiculous. You can get an emotional support certificate by sending $150 to an organization without any training. There's nothing. So we always end up talking about that. I don't know how we get off the
It takes
subject.
her in the airport, I think. That might
The airport
trigger
triggers it. No, because it's ludicrous to me, but it's kind of what Karen is saying. Like, in other words, at the shelter, let's say there's 20 employees. 20 people have a different understanding of dogs. They may like a certain breed of dog, and then they don't like another breed of dog. And it's very toxic. Shelters are toxic because it's just by virtue of what it is. It's fundamentally an emotional place to begin with. And then if you have 20 people of different personalities, and somebody sneaking in a peanut butter sandwich over the weekend, it doesn't have to be that way. And the dogs themselves, believe me, as horrible maybe as people think shelters are, for dogs it's not as bad as you would think. I'll tell a story after the break. We have another segment, or?
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. Right, make sure. So I want to talk about a dog at the Brookhaven shelter. You were probably there, and I'll just tell you the experience that I had there. And it kind of highlights the fact that not everything is what it appears to be. So dogs at a shelter, it's not of course there's humane treatment. It's not as bad as you would think it is. I could argue many ways. I know dogs in family homes that the people are, crazy.
Right.
What?
Toxic.
Toxic.
Yeah.
Right. So now the dogs are living
There's
in
only
that.
2 of them there, 2 people.
Right. 2 people or 3, and the kids are screaming, and it's drama. Shelters don't have that level of drama because there is a level of consistency. And I always say you could drive by the Brookhaven shelter at 3 o'clock in the morning, you wouldn't even know it's there because it's absolute silence. It's when the humans get there in the morning that everything gets out of balance, and that's the same thing as our house. So dogs are perfectly content as long as they're safe and secure. They'll sleep and they'll be good, and then the ritual in the morning begins when they first, whatever it is, they hear a door open. You open a door and the dogs are going crazy. They're getting out of balance. All right. Anything else, Professor?
Not for this segment.
All right. We're going to take 2 minutes. We're going to come back. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about Clutch, Detroit. We have a few things. You're listening to the Dish on Dogs, 103.9, live every Monday at 8 o'clock, sometimes on Facebook. We might be live next week on Facebook. Come back in 2 minutes and we'll do our last and final segment, fortunately. Bye. Did I answer your questions, kind of? Is that what you wanted to talk about? Seriously, or you're just saying that?
Well, she's
Well, I
looking
mean,
for more
there's-
like tips.
Right, and I don't know that we really have enough time for that necessarily.
All right, but I mean, is that
It's
something
not-
you really want to do?
We do
are,
it.
yeah.
It's just that
we would appreciate any input you could add into what we're already doing.
Okay.
It's basically, if it's not me and Johnny doing
It's
play
nobody.
groups, it's really
Right,
nobody.
right.
Yeah.
So that's the trick, is to identify one or two. I gotta tell, Jackie yells at me if I start talking about this off the air. So I gotta wait and talk about this. Right, but I do have advice. I have advice. And it's pretty simple. It's kind of, what's that dog doing?
He's sleeping.
Oh, we're
Well-
still there behind.
Oh, yeah, go steal that while we're here. Thank you, sir.
Watch us come and help you.
Oh, awesome.
I heard you were sleeping.
What did Joe say? Did I say to?
Joe said that this episode will be on the TV in Pittsburgh tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm sure about out to.
Hoorah! What's so funny? We didn't get a chance to do our little rat or whatever this is, raccoon. And then we'll finish up. We'll talk about that. I don't really have anything. We can segue into Houndstown charities.
Yeah, tips on taking home a dog. How would you acclimate a dog like Clutch into a home? Maybe if they already have another dog.
Okay.
That's a really good idea.
That was great. Well, that's great. All right, so why don't you
Because John
do it?
texted me that. That's why.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
He's not being supportive. He's trying to.
Oh, I thought
credit
he was
to-
being like really supportive,
No,
stroke your ego.
no.
No, she's got a big.
I don't need to know.
Right, her ego is giant. You and I suffer from the same. We don't have ego problems. That's the problem. All right, that's funny stuff. Funny stuff. All right, we're gonna have to talk more about the Strip District in Pittsburgh. I love it there. We went out. Is he saying something? We ready?
Okay, 3,
Oh.
2.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould. We're broadcasting live, as usual, from MacArthur Airport, 103.9, and we're also on Facebook Live. Professor, how do people listen to this, or even if they miss it, the video portion of this, how can they go see this show?
So every week's episode you can watch on Facebook. Again, they're saved each week on our feed on Houndstown Radio. If you go on YouTube, it's under Houndstown USA, and all of our radio shows are on there, boot camps we've done, charity work we've done, anything.
Right.
Is on there.
Right. So, right. There's a lot of sources, but some of these shows really more for the dogs, obviously. You can see. I think the most impressive thing about it is the 7-minute segments where you take a dog, the shelter dog,
Right.
and Clutch, who we want you to adopt. And we're going to explain what you should do, who should adopt this dog. Not just anybody, not any
And we
lunatic.
did,
What?
what we worked with Clutch maybe 10 minutes before the show started.
Right. So this is not a dog that none of the dogs you see on our show, and we have a whole long list of them. What was the dog from the Brookhaven shelter? Bruno. He so these are dogs that are just dogs. They're not. They're just dogs, and we put structure and leadership in their lives, like Clutch. And he's just there for you. He's just unconditional love. He just wants to make sure that your leadership keeps him safe and secure.
You were going to tell us a story about a dog.
Oh, right. So we were talking earlier before the break about dogs in shelters. That, we look at shelters and we kind of think of them as Alcatraz for dogs, but it's really not the same thing. It may look that way, but dogs are different. Dogs are denning animals that needs are pretty simple. They need to be fed. They need shelter, they need water, and of course they need exercise. Of course they do. But they don't need the level of exercise most humans think they do. So people take their dog jogging and on marathons and mountain climbing and really all kinds of crazy stuff. Dogs get their exercise very simply. So in the wild, dogs run about 50 to 100 yards at a time. They play a lot when they're young. So they don't need as much as we have. So many years ago, I got a call from the Brookhaven shelter, and there was a dog on hold there for some kind of court case. It involved something. It was some kind of court case. I don't know the specifics of it. And he was actually, I think, a lab. I don't remember, but I have it on video somewhere. So he was kind of confined by court order to his kennel. They have obviously plenty of room to go in and out. They have the guillotine gate so they can feed him on one side. But he was basically in solitary confinement. So I was asked by the then shelter director, which it might have been 20 different people ago, but I was asked to come down and look at the dog. Now, in my own mind, I said, boy, this dog has been kind of confined I didn't know what to expect, like Papillon, did he grow a big long beard, and like the light was going to affect him. So what's that show, Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Right. So I go there, and I thought I was being punked. I thought it was a practical joke, because I went to his kennel, I opened his, I got this on video, I took him out, he was like, just perfect. His tail was wagging, he was happy, and we went out into one of the exercise yards. I think my point was there was no negative detrimental psychological effect. We would think it is, and it is sad in a way, but my point with this particular dog,
it's not killing their spirit.
Exactly. His spirit was not even remotely killed, because they don't have the same needs as we do. So just their interaction with the staff and seeing them every morning is enough for most dogs. Obviously, they get aroused by the humans coming and doing their weird things. Humans do weird things to dogs. They talk to them, and all right, whatever. I don't want to go into that. What else do we want to talk about? Does that make any sense, what I'm saying?
No,
that was my story. My story was the dog was there for 5 years in Kosovo. Do you remember? You probably don't remember. I'll show it to you. Yeah.
It's on like a VHS. He's gonna have to.
No. It was a long time ago. But I'll tell you my recollection of it later. But before I move on, I want to talk about this dog grouping and how I want to do this at the Brookhaven Animal Shelter. The problem is identifying a consistent staff member. So as we were saying, so Johnny can be a consistent and competent staff member, Karen can be, but it can't be different people all the time. It takes us a long time to train our employees.
Oh yeah.
A long time.
To group dogs.
It's
easier to teach them computer and,
exactly.
Customer service.
Right, exactly. So one of the things we teach people all the time, and if you listen to the show, we tell you don't look, talk, or touch. And it sounds weird, but it's the truth. And it's because eyes are the windows of our soul, right? But mammals, human mammals, we don't stare at people on the subway. We don't stare at people, at a sports event. Most humans don't stare at each other, but they stare at dogs. So your eyes are very powerful, and people minimize that. They don't get it. When I say don't look at the dog, it literally arouses the dog, eye contact, sometimes in a friendly way, sometimes in an aggressive way. But when we're sitting here, there's food out, there's all kinds of things. We're not looking, touching Clutch. Clutch is probably passed out sleeping. So Izzy, what's he doing over there?
Laying down.
He's laying down. So if he was this sad story, you'd think he'd want to run around the airport like a lunatic. But he's here. He's happy. He's safe, secure, and we're not messing with his head. We're not touching him. We're not talking to him. We're not asking him to change the TV channel. Well, people do this. They're toxic. Humans are toxic. So what you need to do is find one or two people that are willing to learn. If they're willing to learn that, I can teach that. Houndstown Charities, of course, we'd be happy to teach one person that listens and does what we ask them to do. That's the problem, is when we kind of talked about that. Everybody does their own thing. Everybody has a different version of the dogs. So it's relatively simple, and I can teach just about anyone with the right. The human has to have the right temperament. The dogs are not a problem. Putting a pack of dogs together is very simple. It's like putting a fish in water. You don't have to teach a fish how to swim because they're fish. You don't have to necessarily teach dogs. It's usually the human that gets the dogs out of bounds. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. And I think another thing is, too, it's hard with you guys because they get stimulated so quickly. So, to take them from the kennel straight to a play group kind of gets challenging. And I know with us, what we do with new dogs is we'll put them out on a run by themselves, let them run around, try to get some energy to top them off that way, then put them away somewhere quiet so they can, decompress for a little bit, and then we try them in a play group, too.
Right.
Especially there, because anytime somebody walks in the back, they get aroused, especially when people come to look at the dogs that they don't know.
Right. So let's do that one day. If I'd love to be able to come by, just pick one dog, then two dogs, then three dogs, and put a group of 10 dogs together. If you put 10 dogs together, that's 10% of and then we'll teach one of your employees how to do it. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes,
So
definitely.
do you think I think it would be fun. I'd like to do it, and it's something that, as we say, an enrichment program. It's fun for dogs like it's fun for children to go out in the playground. Human contact is one thing, just like children playing with adults is okay, but it's not as much fun as playing with other children, right? So I think it's really important, and I'd like to do that. I have to, because we're winding down here, I want to thank you guys for coming. If you guys don't, if something's wrong with somebody out there, if Clutch don't get a home, you got to contact the Brookhaven Animal Shelter. But I want to talk about the Pittsburgh Strip District of Pittsburgh, right? And we went out to dinner the other night, Cody, Danielle, Joe, Jackie, and we were up on there's something called an incline. It goes up the side of the mountain, and we were at this beautiful restaurant, 3 hours of sitting and relaxing and talking. So it's an amazing place. If people want like a little place to go, I don't think Pittsburgh is high on the list for some reason. I think people are like me. They think they're going to see steel dust clouds floating over in steel mills. It's nothing like that. It's super cool, people are so friendly, it's ridiculous. Were you ever there, Professor?
Yeah, we went. It was only for a day though.
Oh,
we were
right.
just there to
Have you guys ever been to
facility,
Pittsburgh? It's weird. It's not. It's it's about 6 or 7 hour drive.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't what I was expecting.
Exactly. Yeah, it's completely different. And now they going to have 2 doggy daycares there. So I wanted to say, give that shout out. Of course, my friend Joan Sullivan, the brains of Florida. She's the brains. She knows what's going on there. Ladies, is there anything else? Any parting words of wisdom? When can somebody go for a free dog? On October
26th and 27th. And I just want to thank you guys for having us.
Aw, yeah, well, you're always welcome. If we get Clutch adopted, then we've served, this was very well worth it. So folks out there, Facebook, you're listening here, Clutch, he's 9, he looks like 5, he's about as chill dog as you're ever going to get, and he's available for free, because we're going to, Houndstown Charities is going to pay $120 or whatever it is to get him adopted. We'll throw in a free bag of dog food, what the hell, right? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good now that I have
Somebody
my
write
scotch.
this down so he
Now
remembers.
that I finished my big cup of scotch. All right, folks. Listen next week. Facebook Live, Houndstown Dish on Dogs. Ciao. All right.